Hey guys, please listen.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آله وأزواجه وأهله أجمعين. You know, I was reading Surah Al-Maryam yesterday, actually the last couple of days, and you know, there's this one surah, or this one ayah that I don't know, it's like on the 4th page or something, and you know, every time I read it, it makes me reflect. On the day Yawm al-Qiyamah, you know, when it says, وَأَنذِرْهُمْ يَوْمَ الْحَسْرَةِ إِذْ قُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ وَهُمْ فِي غَفْلَةٍ وَهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. And so when I read the translation, you know, it really caught my eye. It's just simple in the translation. So I wanted to read the tafsir. So when I looked through my phone at Ibn Kathir's tafsir, it made the ayah even more, I guess it had more of an impact, especially after, you know, you get a scholar's perspective on what that ayah really means. And so the ayah in the simple translation is saying, and warn them of the day of loss when the case has been decided, while today, you know, they're heedless and they don't believe. So when I looked at the translation or the tafsir, Ibn Kathir was saying, وَأَنذِرْهُمْ يَوْمَ الْحَسْرَةِ, warn them of the day of loss. He was saying, you know, this is the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah. إِذْ قُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ, when the case has been decided. So I was thinking, what case? You know, when you go to court, you're usually there for something, right? And the judge has to make a decision, and the jury has to make a decision about what you did wrong, how many years you'll be sentenced. I mean, we haven't had that experience, but this is how the court system works. So when the case has been decided, and Ibn Kathir was saying this case is when the people of Jannah have been chosen to go to Jannah, and the people of Hellfire have been chosen to go to hell. This is the case that will be decided on the day Yawm al-Qiyamah. And so, I don't know, I think one of the reasons why we come out here is to look at this fire. And I know every time I see a fire, the first thing I think about is Jahannam. You know, I mean, how could you not? So, on the day Yawm al-Qiyamah, when the case has been decided, you know, it's been reported that Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, rahimahullah, you know, one night he was crying and shaking when his wife was describing his reaction to his thoughts. He was shaking, she said, like a bird. You guys ever see a bird shaking? Like a baby bird when it's cold or something? It's shivering. And she was asking him, why are you crying? And he was saying, I'm crying because I know on the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah there will come a day at one point where I'll be told either to go to Jannah or to go to Hellfire. And so I think when you see fire in general, you have to reflect on it. I mean, subhanAllah, it's something that we'll have to one day at least walk over. It's a promise from Allah. It's in the same surah, Surah Al-Maryam. Allah says, وَإِن مِّنكُم إِلَّا وَارِدُهَا كَانَ عَلَىٰ رَبِّكَ حَتْمًا مَقْضِيًّا. So Allah is talking about the Sirat. And the Sirat is the bridge we all have to cross. And when you see this river, imagine it's fire. And there's a bridge over it. And this bridge, you have to get over this bridge. And there are hooks on that bridge. The bridge is slippery, it's skinny.
Very thin.
It's very thin. So when you guys see fire in general, whether it's at your house or here, especially here, always remember hellfire, and always think about a day when you will see it, and you'll either be told to go to it or to go away from it, to Jannah. Yeah, Jazakallah khair.
Look at this fire right now. What's this fuel? How do we start this fire, you know? It's a wood, and you know, the oil we put on, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, He says in the Quran, يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا وقودها الناس والحجارة. Allah says the fuel, oh you who believe, protect yourself from a fire, which its fuel is man and stone. You know, this fire right now is running on that wood right there, right? But the hellfire, it runs on human beings, on the ones who disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's His fuel. The more human beings are put in there, the louder is gonna, you know, scream the fire. You know, subhanAllah, wallahi, man. Just me personally right now, just looking at this fire, man, wallahi, it's crazy, wallahi. Just imagining myself, you know, for a day to come, you know, if I find myself right in front of the hellfire, bro, Allah, I'll think to myself, man, the Islam came to me, the Quran came to me, everything was clear, but yet I still ended up here. Man, that would be the greatest, wallah, you know. That would be, wallah, the greatest,
sometimes, you know, we have a hard time imagining, like, you know, being a normal human being, you have a hard time imagining you being in a fire. No matter how many times you hear about it, no matter how many times you read about it, it's just hard to actually imagine and to convince yourself that one day I'll actually have to taste this punishment. So, somebody right now, is anybody willing to touch this fire? You don't have to go far to actually, you know what it feels like to be in hell. At least in this dunya. Try and touch this fire. You're not going to do it, right? And you'll never do it. But one day you might actually have to be forced to go in it. Being dragged on your face by an angel who has no mercy in him. The strength of his, you cannot imagine his strength. You'll be begging for mercy.
The same angel that Wasil is talking about just reminded me quickly when the people of Jahannam, years and years after the Day of Judgment, they say, وَنَادَوْا يَا مَالِكْ لِيَقْضِيَ عَلَيْنَا رَبُّكَ. So they call out to Malik, the gatekeeper of Jahannam, over and over and over again. And Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, he says in Ibn Kathir, the tafsir, they will be calling for 1,000 years. They will be in the midst of hellfire, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has described to us. They will be burning for 1,000 years, and they're calling to Malik sincerely, why doesn't Allah just destroy us so that we have no life? And then after 1,000 years, subhanallah, the angel Malik, he responds to them. But it's not the response they would wanted to hear. They wanted to hear that, go ahead, you just die. But what does he say? لَقَدْ what? إِنَّكُمْ مَاكِثُونَ. You guys will stay here forever. That's it. You'll never, ever, ever leave. And then you know what happens? They keep calling. Now they start calling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're in the middle of the fire. After 1,000 years of calling Malik, and he refused, then they start calling on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells Malik, close the gates of hell. I do not even want to hear them anymore. Huh? This is the situation of the people of hellfire. This is the same fire, but greater, that they'll be in. And they'll be calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sincerely. In this dunya, they denied Allah, and they did not call upon Him. They called upon other gods. They called upon idols and human beings. But on that day, they will be calling on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. They believe that the only one that can save them is Allah. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want to even hear their voices. He doesn't want to see them. And Malik is an angel that has never smiled. You guys know that? He's never ever smiled because of what he's the gatekeeper of hell. All he sees is people being punished. There are angels in the hellfire whose job is to just punish people. There's all types of punishment. And you know, subhanallah, even though that is one side of the people of in Akhirah, but there's also the other side of the people in Jannah, where one day they will come and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will gather all of the people of Jannah, and He will ask them, should I add anything to what you already have? What will they say? What else can we have? We have everything we need. You saved us from hellfire and you gave us Jannah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will lift the hijab from His face, and He will tell them that today I am pleased with you. and that will be the greatest enjoyment that they've ever had. So the people of hellfire, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not pleased with them, and He doesn't want to hear from them. But the people of Jannah, Allah is pleased with them, and that is the greatest happiness they will ever achieve in all of history. So this is the situation of Akhirah. This is the truth, guys. This is what we need to remember constantly, so that we can stay away from the temptations of this dunya. Otherwise, we'll fall in the traps, just like everyone else. The many people that go to the clubs, the many people that do the bad things, the drugs and the zina. We don't want to be amongst those people, because those people are the people of hell. That's the truth. If you do evil deeds, this is what you will be. But if you do good deeds, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ سَيَجْعَلُ لَهُمُ الرَّحْمَنُ وُدًّا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect these people. He will give them whatever they want. مَا لَا عَيْنٌ رَأَتْ وَلَا أُذُنٌ سَمِعَتْ وَلَا خَطَرَ عَلَى قَلْبِ بَشَرٍ. It's something that no eye has ever seen, no ear has ever heard of, and no heart has ever imagined. You can't imagine Jannah even if you try. And similarly, you cannot imagine hellfire even if you try. We look at this fire today and we think, oh subhanallah, what a great punishment it is. But the punishment that is in Akhirah, the real hellfire, is much, much worse than this. So much worse that if you try to imagine it, you wouldn't even be able to. So both sides are severe. The hellfire is severe, and the Jannah is unlimited. Whatever you want. And this is the case, guys. So we have to strive to this and remember this constantly. Not just tonight, but every night, every single day. And work on ourselves even though we're young. And inshallah, may Allah make it easy for everyone to practice this deen. And make us amongst those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with on the Day of Judgment.
Ameen, ameen, ameen. This is the toughest age right now, from 15